Manology Podcast, episode 04. I am Dan O'Matic.
And I am Mad Matt.
And today, I think we're going to talk about gender inequality. It's a pretty cool topic.
I think so.
Gender inequality. I got some notes that I took down on this, but you said you had some personal experiences, so I wanted to hear them.
Oh, there's quite a bit, and we'll have to probably spread them throughout the segment, so it's not just me talking. But I like the topic when you were talking about it, because I know immediately when people hear gender inequality, it's women's rights, feminism, let's push this. And it's really not. That
storm's wild, dude, yeah. I hope we don't lose power in the middle of this.
I think the only thing that will happen is the lights will turn off, but we should still be running.
So if we get real dark, it just means that we lost power.
Yeah.
That's all. Studio died. It'll also get immeasurably hot in here because it'll kill the AC.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
It's going to smell awful.
It's going to smell bad, yeah.
So I always thought it was interesting because I've experienced a lot of sexism and gender inequality with where
And what would commonly be referred to as reverse sexism?
If you want to call it that, right?
Because if you're a man, you can't experience sexism as a man, according to
my issue with that whole reverse sexism, reverse racism is so ignorant.
Yeah, there's no such
sexism
thing.
Or it's racism.
Right, there is no such thing as reverse anyism.
Right.
What reverse Nazism? Is that what you would call people that were opposed Nazis?
So the Jews, they were reverse Nazis.
Reverse Nazis? No, that's retarded. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, and so yeah, I've dealt with it quite a bit with places I've worked at, my divorce, custody battles, just in general, and we'll cover all that in a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because that's one of my notes that I have here. If we can go ahead and talk about them, we can open it up and start it out with double standards. I mean, that's one of the bullet points that I wrote down because I actually was a professional and actually planned for this podcast like I did for the first two.
Yeah.
But didn't plan for the third one at all.
That was winging.
That was bad, dude. It was not good. But for episode 4, I actually did what I normally do, and I actually made some notes so we had some things to talk about. So we'll just skip down to this one that I have here, which is double standards. So let's talk about domestic violence for a second. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that women can literally get away with punching dudes square in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And and even... So I dated this girl one time that was real big into kicking the shit out of me.
Jeez.
And there was not really anything that I could do back to her. She's a semi-popular country singer now.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But any hoozles, she used to beat the shit out of me. And there were times where this is the type of person that would, and this is not going into this, so it's kind of on a tangent, but this is the kind of person that would like scratch herself up and then threaten to call the police on me.
I think that still kind of goes in the same concept because it's the gender inequality that they can do whatever.
Sure, yeah. So, right. I mean, if I did that, then no one would have ever believed me.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I had my fingernails DNA swabbed.
Jeez.
By, like, Spartanburg County because this person's calling the police. Saying that I clawed her face up. It's very obvious that I have no fingernails.
Right, and guys usually don't claw.
Why the fuck would I claw, dude?
I'm gonna hit you when I hit you.
Like, the thing of it is like, and the thing of it is that, like, there's so many times where I should have, like, laid her slap the fuck out, but I didn't because I'm a man.
Right. And
if I hit her, even if I hit her with, like, 30%, it would fuck her up so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and not for nothing, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've been boxing for a long time.
Yeah.
So, like, if I just rifled one in, like, even if I was holding 70% back, it would have fucked her up. It would have broke bones.
And you would have gotten in
and I would have
deep
put to
shit.
prison for doing that. But I can think of 10 scenarios on top of my head where I should have just busted her shit, and I didn't.
Right.
So domestic violence, that's a big double standard, right, when we talk about gender inequality. So if you want gender equality, you have to also, and this takes me to my very first bullet point, right? So we can bounce a little bit here.
Sure.
My very first bullet point is that women who, these feminists that scream for gender inequality, all that they really want are the good parts of being a man.
Yes.
They're not interested in the negative things.
It's a supremacy
they're wanting to cherry pick. I actually have that in a bullet point too. They're wanting to cherry pick. They're wanting to cherry pick between rights and responsibilities.
Yeah.
right? So because as a man, you have all these things, and as a woman, you have all these things, and their rights and their responsibilities.
Yes.
Some of them are rights, some of them are responsibilities. Everybody has rights. Everyone has the same rights. It kills me when I see women post this fucking thing. I know you've seen this goddamn meme, and it's like, I just want one day for women to have the same rights that a gun has.
God. Yes.
And I'm like, so you mean you don't want to be able to go around fucking children? You don't want to be able to go to you don't want to be able to vote anymore?
To be concealed.
Because you can't carry it. Well, open carry just passed in South Carolina. So yeah, I've been wearing. No, I haven't. I'm just gonna lie to be on this. I was just gonna lie to sound really cool, like a really cool 2A guy. And I was gonna be like, I've been carrying my pistol on my hip ever since it passed, man. I just carry my 45 on my hip.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't even have a 45. You have a 1911, don't you?
I do. 45.
45? Yeah, I have a 9mm 1911. It's a Kimber.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back to Gun Talk. So what they're doing is they're cherry picking between rights versus responsibilities, right? So if we look at as a man, like they think that you have this unreachable fucking ability to have rights that they don't have.
Yes.
Which is just complete bullshit.
It is.
It's not true. Men don't have any more rights than women have. If anything, we have more responsibility and fewer rights because of the amount of double standards that society holds men to.
Absolutely. And like going back to the domestic violence thing, I've experienced it with my ex-wife. There was a point, and you see, like I'm a pretty decent sized human, and
You're a gigantic man, a giant amongst mortals.
My ex-wife was like 5'7", skinny thing. She wasn't like big person or anything, right?
What do you mean?
Like,
You mean 5'7"? What do you mean? Not a big person?
yeah,
What do you
she's
mean?
like normal size, I guess.
So what do you mean by normal size? What do you mean by that?
Anybody that's under 6 foot is normal size, I think.
You think that's normal?
I guess.
I think it's like 30% or like 17% of the U.S. population is 6 foot or taller. So
That sounds like a you problem.
no, that's a you problem. You're the one that's weird. You're the one that's weird because there's a very small chunk of you that are that goddamn big.
Right? So,
Anyways, she's a regular person
regular size.
and you are a giant. Go on. Please continue the story.
So, she there's this point when we were going through our separation. She like comes to the house, even though she wasn't allowed to be there. She was because we were still married. So she was able to. My understanding, she was able to break into the house if she wanted to destroy the house. It was still her right to as the wife, which was weird. So anyway, she takes the kids out, and I'm trying to stop her, and she literally lays into my chest, like throws a full-on punch into my chest. She does it hits my chest, not my face, because she knows that it's not, one, it's going to show a mark, and two, because of my heart condition, that it could set something off.
That's right. You have AFib.
Yeah.
Right.
So then she proceeds to try to run me over in her car. So I call 911, try to report it. I literally have 3 cops. They took 3 hours to get there. And then they finally they looked at me, and they're like, really? She hurt you?
Right, and see that was the thing that would happen a lot. Like and just from my personal experience with this situation, like there were times where like I'm literally bleeding because she has busted my fucking nose, like hit me with stuff. She tried to stab me to death once.
Yeah.
And like actually did stab me. Like, Jesus. You know what I mean? So I'm bleeding.
Right.
It's a folding pocket knife about this big. Mm-hmm. But she actually does succeed in fucking stabbing me, like right here in the fucking shoulder. I have a little scar.
Jeez.
And the cops show up and, they're talking about, she's woe is me.
Of course.
He beat my ass, all this other shit.
Self-defense.
I'm sitting here fucking bleeding. Like, and I don't know, I didn't beat her ass. Like,
well, I'm saying, like, she's going to be like, oh, I had to do that self-defense.
Right, yeah, that's exactly what she did. She claimed that she fucking had to do that in self-defense because I was beating her ass. There's not a Mark 1 on her.
Right.
I'm literally fucking bleeding.
Yep.
Right. And then there were so many times where, like, okay, this is I pay rent here. This is my house.
Yep.
She also pays rent here. This is her house. But I'm the one that has to fucking leave.
Yeah.
But why? I didn't stab anyone. I'm trying to watch the fucking Red Sox play. Like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to watch a fucking game. I'm not stabbing anyone. This is an example of double standards, specifically in terms of where it comes to domestic violence. Now let's talk about double standards where it comes to child support and custody battles.
Oh yeah,
because that's in the same vein of double standards.
Yeah, and this one might go on a little bit, but there's a big story with this. So when we were going through the separation, I was actually told by my lawyer, the person I was actually paying to defend me, or like, whatever.
Right, yeah.
She tells me, there's a chance that you're going to have to move out of the house and give her the house And I said, why would I give her the house? I pay for the house.
It's my house.
She's like, well, you'd still be paying for it, but she would have to be able to live in it because she needs a place to stay. I said, what about me? She's like, well, you can find something, but she had to leave. And I'm like, she left me for another dude. Why in the hell am I giving her a house?
And could you fucking imagine if the situation was reversed? It would be headline news.
Yeah.
That there was a
Absolutely.
judge that ruled that, okay, this woman, you know,
Yeah.
her man, you know, cheated on her, but she has to move, but continue paying for a house for him to live in because it's a manner that he's become accustomed to, and that's what they say. It's a lifestyle that she has become accustomed to.
Yes.
You have to continue providing for her if you're even if you're divorced, it's alimony.
Yeah.
Like you have to continue to provide for her to provide the lifestyle that she grew accustomed to while she was living with you.
Yep.
Which means that on the fucking whole, there can never be a such thing as gender equality.
No.
There cannot be because men are the fucking providers. And it's not about who makes the most money.
Right.
It's about that society puts the pressure on us to be the ones that provide and protect.
Exactly. And this went on more like, cause it was that obviously never got to happen. I fought that tooth and nail. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm giving up my house for her. But then the whole thing with her taking the kids out of my house, like my kids were literally kicking and screaming, did not want to leave, and I could not stop her because if I laid one hand on her, that was it.
She'd have thrown herself on the ground and been like,
yeah. I mean, I'd be in jail.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So like, she took the kids, and then there was a point I tried to go get the kids back from her grandmother. Her grandmother attacked me, tried breaking my phone when I was trying to call 911 to get somebody out there. Again, they have a thing with trying to run people over with cars. Tried to run me over with the car again.
This is her grandmother. That
Her
did
grandmother.
This. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then she comes back. Cops finally show up way later on. I'm like, there's literally somebody stealing my fucking kids. You need to come after them. There's no reason she should have these children. She threw them in a car. She's driving like a maniac around. Like, come get this person. Well, they come to her. Old little Southern lady starts saying, "Oh, woe is me. He came after me, and he broke into my house, and he was yelling at me, and he chased me down with a car full of guns and
A whole gun full of cars.
gun full of cars." That's how we do it down here.
Car gun. In my brain, that's like a gun that shoots tiny cars. Car gun.
It's like a 50 cal, right?
Exactly. Oh yeah, it's just like, and it's just like cars.
So this whole time, like she says all this stuff, right? Cops take her word for it, and no charges were pressed or anything like that. But they took her word because they look at me, this big dude, and they see this little tiny old lady, and they're like, "Well, she would have never hurt him." So they automatically profiled me and said that they weren't going to she wasn't going to press any charges. And I'm like, "Well, what the hell are you talking about? I want my kids back," and I wasn't allowed to. So then this goes on further. We go into court. I get an emergency hearing, and I'm like, okay, I've got 2 instances where I've been attacked from these people. I've not been allowed to see my children for a month at this point, going into court. And I'm like, this should go in my favor. And it doesn't. Because they come into court, they say, I'm a pedophile, I'm a homosexual, I'm a womanizer, I'm a psychopath that owns guns, I'm a murderer, all these other things. No evidence. And
Wait, they said all of those things?
all of those things, literally.
You're
all
a
of those
murderer?
Yeah, all of it.
Have you ever murdered anyone?
No.
I mean, are you lying right now because we're on camera?
No, I mean, I've never
That's
murdered anybody.
exactly what a
Scott's
murderer.
honor.
That's exactly what a murderer would say if I asked them.
You want to be the first?
You can try.
On next episode.
I know the next episode is just an empty chair right here where I'm supposed to be, and it's just you with blood all over you, and you're just like, Dan's sick.
He's got the COVID.
Oh man. Oh my god. That's so funny. So they said you're a pedo, and did
Pedo,
they
and a homosexual, and a womanizer.
They didn't. I mean, I could believe the homosexual thing.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm just doing this to try to antagonize you so that you can murder me.
It's not going to take much.
No, I'm pretty easy to kill, I think.
So they say all this stuff, and again, the court sides with her. Now, they take the kids away from both of us, and it was supposed to be like, what the standard way that's supposed to happen is each parent gets week on, week off.
So
and
that's
it's supposed
just
to be
standard,
supervised.
that's standard joint custody, yeah?
It was supposed to be, but
Okay.
she got kids full time. I was able to see my kids on the weekend, supervised. So I was not allowed to be alone with my children. I could not stay overnight with my children until I went through a full psych eval.
To prove that you're not a pedo or a murderer.
Correct. Now she had to do one too, but it was kind of like.
Did you have to prove that you weren't a homosexual?
No.
I wonder how that test would go. How could you prove?
Here's a dildo.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna leave you alone in the room with this dildo and this lube. You better not put this in your butthole, boy.
Actually, no. He did ask me a few times if I was attracted to men. I was
Really?
like, no, I like women like a lot,
Sure.
but like, no, I'm good.
Really?
It was weird.
Why the fuck would that matter?
Well, and that's what my whole thing was like. What?
Would it matter if you were fucking queer as a $3 bill if you were taking care of your children and doing right by them?
Right. What does it matter? But
Why
to them,
the
it did.
fuck would that even matter?
Yeah. So it was stupid shit like that. But the point was they still sided with her and gave her the entire week of
So
custody.
you got weekends.
I got weekends.
Did you get every other weekend?
It was every weekend, which was her way of helping me out by giving me every weekend.
But the judge was down to give her the every other weekend thing?
Give me every other weekend.
Well,
No.
that's what I mean. Give
Yeah.
you the every other weekend, and she gets them all week.
Right.
Because I have a really good friend of mine. He just did his bodybuilding show. We were talking about him a couple days
Mm-hmm.
ago. He just did the Upstate Classic. He did really well in the Open for men's physique, and he had a child very young in high school, around the age of 16.
Yeah.
And yeah, they ended up getting divorced. You know, the American dream.
Of course.
And yeah, he was. I remember me and him lived together for a while, and I remember him. I mean, when this was the summer of '69 for me and him, because we were just like fucking, and that sounded really gay, but I mean, like we were fucking, you know, both single dudes making really good money,
Sure.
and we lived in a big house together. Because after, you know, she left and decided to not try to get the house.
Yeah.
And so he just had the house, and he was like, I need to get some roommates, and he asked me, and I moved in with him. This was after the military. And I mean, it wasn't strange for the girl to guy ratio in that house to be like 2 to 1. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I mean, it was why we had a stripper pole in the living room. Like, no, I'm dead serious. We had a stripper pole in the living room, and but he only got his son every other weekend.
Yeah.
And he had to pay her like close to $2,000 a month in child support.
That's what they
And
wanted
it's
me
like
to do.
he's going completely. This is why he needed roommates, because he's having to go completely broke to
be
pay
able to
for a
live.
child that he gets to see 4 days a month.
Yeah. It's insane.
I mean, it was terrible. I was, and you know, hopefully, you know, thank God nothing ever happened to her, because I remember me and him sitting in his living room, just like, you know, okay, how do we kill her? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do we kill this bitch and get away with it? You know?
Right. Yeah. So we went on this for a while, and like the only reason I was able to get week to week custody was because my kid's life was so terrible over there. The school they were going to, they weren't learning anything from. Was Woodruff Elementary School.
Sure.
They didn't learn shit. They were getting picked on to the point where Addie was ready to commit suicide at age 9.
Holy shit.
Like, I mean, she was writing suicide notes and stuff, and like she was ready to take her life. And
Man,
I found
I
it.
hate the childhood that Addie's had, man.
oh,
Like-
she's had it.
I mean, for what you provide for her, she lives like a king compared to how me and you grew up.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, just that girl's mental health, dude. Like, this, just the trauma that she's gone through.
Yeah,
with
it's rough.
Her stepdad and all of that, like, or well, I guess the guy her mom was dating,
Right. Yeah.
Not necessarily a stepdad.
Yeah.
But that instance happening, which I don't know if we want to talk about that on pod or not, but I mean, I'm just saying, you know, that's a fucked up thing. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
her favorite band breaking up. I mean, that had to be a horrible thing, dude. I
Yeah,
mean, I
she
bet
was not happy about
I bet
that.
she wasn't happy about her favorite band breaking up.
Right.
But then the singer for that band like brought her ukulele and shit.
Yeah,
so
he was pretty
hopefully
cool.
Hopefully it's all good now. He's an alright dude. He's like the same height as her.
I think she's taller.
She's not taller than me. I mean, she's not taller than that guy.
So I bring it to the guardian item, and she gets pissed. She's like, "What the fuck happened? I was not involved with this." She's like, "Why was I never involved with this whole case?" And so she gets in there. She's pissed and puts this emergency hearing in, and gives them an opportunity and says, "This was right around Christmas time." And she said, "You need to let the father have the kids on Christmas. If you don't, we will go to court, and we are not doing any. There's going to be no negotiation about joint custody."
Sure.
Well, sure and behold, these cocksuckers decided to ignore that and test out their power.
Sure.
Because they're women. They
Right.
can do whatever the hell they want, and they've been proven to be able to do whatever the fuck they want. So I don't get to see my kids for Christmas. It was a pretty miserable day. And the guardian was like, "Nope, fuck you guys." Puts emergency hearing in, and we were able to get joint custody week to week. And she was pissed. Like, her whole family walks out crying and bawling and just pissed at the world about the fact that I was able to get my kids every other week, which
Right.
is my opinion is what should happen in custody battles, unless you're a real piece of shit, you should get your kids 50-50. This whole thing, like your friend, we're getting like 4 days out of the month and paying
close to $2,000 every month to see a kid. The kid, and there's no way for him to have a healthy relationship with that kid.
No.
And on top of that, he's paying through the fucking nose.
Yeah.
For what? And
right.
then, he's, seeing that she's not using the money for the kid. And that's what you see every time.
All the time.
Is that she's not using the money for a kid. All of a sudden she's driving a brand new Mercedes.
Yep.
And it's like, how did you get that? Well, that's just 1 month of child support's down payment to get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it didn't cost her anything, and she's not really using the money to take care of the kid, because no kid, and I don't give a fuck what neighborhood or what state you live in.
Right.
There's not a kid that costs $2,000 a month.
No.
There's not.
Even with daycare,
with daycare.
I think Ashley had her kid in Bob Jones's daycare, very bougie crap.
Sure.
And it was $700 a month for him.
Right, and then you factor in,
food,
some toys and shit. I don't know how are parents right now with toys for kids? Do you guys still buy your kids toys, or do they just get a new app or something?
My kids like toys up to a certain point, and then like my middle son, my 8-year-old, he likes Legos, and that's about it.
Yeah.
The younger ones, they still love toys.
Sure. Okay. So
Addie's
kids
kind of she don't give a crap.
Do kids still play with wrestlers? Is that a thing? Do they still
Some do.
Remember when we had wrestlers and we just beat the shit out of them? We just make Stone Cold Steve Austin and just some Dragon Ball Z character and make them fight to the fucking death.
Right. Yeah.
I used to do that
all the time.
Hell yeah.
At all the Dragon Ball Z characters.
I used to make do you remember Vegito?
Yeah.
Vegeta and Goku would put the earrings on and turn into that one guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I would take him and fucking Stone Cold, fucking give him a hell yeah. Fucking just stomp a mud hole in his ass. What?
This ain't canon.
You know how Stone Cold likes it. I just make Stone Cold rape Vegeta.
I think you need a psych eval.
You know what I like, Asian boy? Hell yeah. After this, I'm gonna drink a couple Steve-Weisers. So, but that was my question: is do kids still play with dolls the way that we played with dolls when we were growing up?
To a point. The problem is
you get so mad when your grandma would call them dolls too.
Right?
Like
action figures, grandma.
Action figures. What are you talking about? Dolls are gay.
I'm not a girl, grandma.
I'm not gay, grandma. God.
Yeah, no, they do to a point. Depends on how injected they are to video games and YouTube and stuff. YouTube's killed imagination.
We didn't have the video games. They existed in the 90s.
It wasn't a big thing for us.
See, Super Nintendo was I had Super Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo was the shit. And I fucking played Super Scope and Metroid and all that fun shit, Super Mario Bros. And stuff. And I would play that, but I was only allowed to play video games for a very short amount of time during the day. If what I would want to do is I would go to school, and then my plan would be, and this was every day. My plan would be, because we skateboarded to school, we rode bikes to school. This is back when you could get fucking stabbed when you were fucking 10, right? So you had to be tough as nails just to survive, right? So I'd skate to school, and then my plan was always, I'm gonna skate home and I'm gonna fucking play, because my parents didn't get home from work until after 6, right? I'm just gonna fucking play for 4 hours, uninterrupted. I'm gonna get home and I'm just gonna fucking game, and then when they come home, I'll act like I was reading a book.
Yeah.
All right, but what always ended up happening was me and my brother Kenneth and some friends would all end up just skating around, and just playing, and then it would be dark and be oh shit, we gotta get home, and because the street lights are coming on,
Yeah.
So you had to get in when the street lights came on. It was time to come home, right? So,
there's a term for that, because I did the same thing when I was in middle school, high school. There was your parents would get home to 6 o'clock, and you were just there.
You're alone by yourself. Yeah, you have to take care of yourself.
There was I think it's Doorkey children or Turnkey kids or something.
Latchkey.
That's what it was.
Latchkey. God, I just almost aspirated this shit. I almost fucking died. It went up my nose.
Jesus.
Yeah, because I knew the answer, and I was like, oh no.
But yeah, there was a lot of us that did that, and nowadays I honestly could not see my kids being those type of being able to be alone in my house.
But why? But why not? Because they don't have the mental capacity, you don't think, to be able to do that?
No, like my kids are pretty smart.
I don't mean that they're not intelligent. I just mean that it would be something that was so new to them, but you don't think, because it was new to us and we had to fucking learn how to do it.
It's more of the unattended access that they have to internet and the outside world.
See,
and
that's
other
the other
people
thing, is that we
seeing
didn't have that.
like my kids being at home by themselves.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of fucking weird people that watch your house.
Well, that's true too, because you live in a nice neighborhood. Out here, there's nobody watching me.
No, you're good.
But I mean, like, I just don't understand, because it was new to us at once. Mm-hmm. At one point, it was new to us. But the difference, I guess, would be like, you wouldn't have access to the internet because, like we talked about last week, it used to come in the fucking mail.
Yeah, right.
So, like, you know, I remember when we got a computer that could get on the internet, like, and it was a big deal.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
But it was still kind of like locked down. It wasn't as easy just like pressing the blue E.
No. You had, and you also, if somebody called you on the phone, it would knock you offline. It would knock you offline if somebody called on the phone. You know, and oh man, this is just flood of memories, dude. I remember we had a fax line because my dad was a boss at his job, and people had to fax their timesheets at the end of the week.
People still fax things.
And people they had to fax them from the whatever, because they worked all over the state, and they had little operating centers, and they had to fax their time at the end of the week, right?
Right.
And I'd be on the phone with my girlfriend, and like I'd get beep beep, and I'd get a beep. Remember getting a beep? You remember? That's not a thing anymore. It just tells you someone's calling you. But you used to get a beep, and it made this sound. It was like, and then you knew you were getting a beep, and you would either be like, "Hang on, I'm getting a beep," or you'd have to just hang up and then wait for it to ring again and then answer, right? But it was these faxes, and they would just come in back to back to back to back. And like my girlfriend's parents would only let her talk on the phone for like so long.
Expensive.
And most of the night, it was just faxes rolling in one after another, and we didn't get to talk. So I remember hating Friday because I didn't get to talk to my girlfriend on the phone for 40 minutes. I only got to talk to her for like 5 minutes, and they weren't uninterrupted. It was just like spaced out. And that was annoying because, like, I'm trying to get her to moan so I can nut, you know?
He was 5.
No, this was in high school. No, this was definitely in high school. I mean, this is MySpace era. So, like, I was old enough to know better, but still young enough for your parents to be in charge of what you're doing.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but anyways, back to steer it back into the direction that the podcast is supposed to be heading. Every podcast just turns into Dan's a massive whore, and I hate that. And I hope that I don't think Courtney even watches them, so
it's probably better.
I think we're probably okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So so rewinding back to the whole thing, I finally get my week-to-week custody, and I was told I'm responsible for 75% of medical bills, even though it's 50-50. I'm supposed to pay her $400 a month in child support, even though it's 50-50. Because of the divorce, I had to pay her $10,000 because
I'm already out, dude. This is already enough to make me want to never have kids or get married.
It was fucking ridiculous. And here's the craziest thing. So she left the marriage with a paid off 2013 Ford Fusion. It was still worth like $10,000. It was a pretty decent car.
Sure.
She wrecked it twice during our separation.
Okay.
And because she wrecked it, the judge and the lawyers and stuff said, well, the car's value depreciated. Yeah, no shit. She wrecked it.
Yeah, it's her fault.
But the car was fine when she left the marriage, and this is what it was worth. Well, that's not how that works.
I can't help but think that if it was flipped around, once again, if these roles were reversed, it would have been
me on everything that I wanted.
If you had wrecked her car,
yeah, it would have been on you. Oh yeah. Well, they were pissed off because at that time I swapped my car. I had a Silverado and I traded it out for a Tahoe because I honestly couldn't drive the Silverado anymore because she fucked her boyfriend in there and left a nice big cum stain on my driver's seat.
Spicy.
Yeah, I was ready to kill her, but it's a different story.
Mayonnaise. I would have tried to play that shit. I'd been like, "That's from a McChicken." You know how they put the fucking McCum shot on the. You know how they put it on the chicken or the McChicken at McDonald's. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think that was it.
It was a soupy McChicken I was eating.
I don't think that was it though.
You don't think so?
No.
Did you taste it?
I'm just trying to go back to the point.
I'm just trying to find out if you're gay. I'm still trying to figure out if you're gay. It's cool if you're gay, dude. Just my mom says I can't hang out with gay people.
But yeah, so she, because it was she claimed that she made no money. She did the whole sob story. I had to leave with nothing while he got to live up on the hill and live in, royalty, et cetera, and
but it's not because you sucked somebody's dick and they gave you that. It's because you worked your fucking ass off,
right,
to the point where you could live in the big fucking house.
And she had it
with
fucking
the hardwood
made.
floors
she
and the
didn't have
fucking
to,
grand piano.
She didn't have to fucking work. She was a stay-at-home mom.
Or wait, no, you got to live in the big house with the inconsistent hardwood floors and too much road noise from the highway.
That's right.
See, Matt's trying to sell his house right now, and they had a showing, and somebody left a review of the house, and it apparently has inconsistent hardwood flooring and too much road noise from the highway.
It's too loud in the house.
It's too loud in the house.
And the paint.
Yeah. The house has like 16-foot fucking ceilings and a grand piano in it.
But it's not worth the money, for sure.
It's definitely not worth the money. There's other $500,000 houses that are way further away from the road.
Bougie ass people.
That's not even bougie, dude. That's just Karen shit, dude.
Oh yeah, and I've had a
100%.
few of them that they're just straight up Karen bullshit coming in there like, it's not worth the money.
What do you mean? It's the price of things.
It's like a 4,000 square foot home.
It's the price of things. You know what's not worth the money? The thing that I have on my wrist. You know, like I have a fucking Rolex on. Like, what sane person pays this amount of money for a watch?
I was gonna point at you, but then you said sane, and I was like, that's
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't
right.
work.
I'm just the kind of person that's just like, oh, I want that because not a lot of people have one. So let's steer it back in, okay? Yep. Both men and women respectively suffer from gender-based injustices around the world. Almost every female that I've spoken to on the topic of gender inequality yearns for females and their entire gender to have fairness. They yearn for fairness for their gender. But what do you think is fair?
Supremacy.
That's the thing. So I have this note here. Domination does not equal equality. Yeah. It does equal supremacy.
Yeah, and that's what this whole push for, like, with feminism is not, we're looking for gender equality, we're looking for gender supremacy, because it's not, well, we're suppressed, or not. You're able to get jobs, you're able to vote, you're able to do everything a man can do. You get paid, they say they get paid less at a job.
I have experienced the exact opposite.
Yes.
In places that I've worked at, that there were women who had less experience than me that started at a higher fucking salary than I did, doing the same exact job.
Oh, I've got stories with that
because they had kids. They're a single mother. But that's their fault. That's a you problem.
That's a you problem.
That is not a we problem. And there's
exactly.
I have quit jobs.
Yeah.
Because there was a fucking female doing the exact same job as me.
Yep.
Doing a shittier job than me. Mm-hmm. And making less money. Or making more money, rather. I was making less than her.
Yeah.
But my argument for, have you ever heard Bill Burr go on about this exact topic? Or he talks about, why does a woman make, because they swear to God they make 70 cents on the dollar that a man makes. And that's just horseshit. It's just not true.
There's so many variables with that. You can't.
There's no way to actually nail that down.
No.
There's no way. But say, for instance, that you make 70 cents on the dollar for what I make.
Sure.
If there's a Titanic situation in this motherfucker, I have to stay on the goddamn boat while you and children get to fucking save your lives.
Yep.
So I should be making 30 cents more.
Yes. So
because of the double standard.
Yeah.
So that women and children should be saved first because they're more important. The idea is that women want to have the benefits that come with being a less fucking important human being, but don't want any of the responsibility that comes with being a less important human being, because society values women and children way, way, way up here.
Yes, they do.
And men are maybe like this is like women and children, well, maybe like children and then women and then dog shit and then men.
Yes. That's accurate.
And I'm not up here just like on a soapbox harping like men get treated like shit, because I don't have to fucking say that. Every dude that's watching this right now has been done wrong by a fucking woman, has had society take the side of that fucking woman.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, even and sometimes even within your own family.
Yeah,
like
it happens.
There's on my mother's side of the family, they all are still in touch with an ex that I dated, and they took her side in the breakup and everything.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
nah, bro.
I'm like, what the fuck? You're supposed to be for me, dude. You're supposed to forsaking all others, dude. This is a fucking frat. We're in this for life. This is like Hell's Angels.
Right. No, so when I worked at Floor Daniel, or Floor, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Oh, wait, I'll censor that.
It don't matter. You don't have to.
Oh, you're cleared on that?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you had a clearance for that or not.
No. We were pretty public sector with stuff, but it was anyway, I worked for floor government, and I did some stuff. I was a SharePoint analyst for them. And obviously I'm not going to go into any like the stuff that I did there, but the instances that I've dealt with. So
tell us about some of that top secret shit.
I was working on a team with this lady. She supposedly got there first, so she was claimed as team lead, even though she really didn't know what the hell she was talking about. She was a team lead. I was like, whatever, sure. So I did my job, worked my stuff, and then they were looking for another SharePoint analyst. And I was like, all right, well, here's some people that I've worked with before. They know their stuff. They're good. Her friend gets hired on that she used to work with, another girl.
Sure.
Older lady. Has no idea how to use SharePoint, just enough to, like, talk to people. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's move on. Could I just keep going? And, then, again, we get to this other point, and we need another person because the stuff supposedly keeps getting more intense. But I'm like, I'm not seeing them doing the workload. I'm getting a lot of workload. Like, I was developing crap for them that it was never supposed to happen with that.
Yeah.
And so they put out another thing. They're like, yeah, we're looking for another person. I'm like, all right, well, this guy I know is looking for a job. He's, willing to work. He doesn't care how much he gets paid, basically. But he's a project manager. He was a supervisor. He's got IT experience, SharePoint experience. Like, he's basically what you need.
Sure, yeah. The right person for the job right here.
Yep.
Right.
They hired her friend from church.
Did you have any experience?
She didn't know how to print documents from an Excel.
Ooh, victim of the old equal opportunity.
Oh, and it gets better. So this is right about before I start the divorce process. We separated and whatnot, and my middle son was ready to start school. So I wanted to go to meet the teacher thing because he's starting kindergarten. I wanted to see who he was going to be with, whatever.
Hell yeah.
And most everybody in the department was going to be doing the same thing. So I was like, I didn't ask for the entire day off. I just said, let me leave about 2 o'clock so I can get there by 3 because it's over in Simpsonville. It's going to take a minute to drive there. And he said, no, I can't possibly give you that time off. I'm like, why? He said, well, that just doesn't make any sense. Why do you need to go meet the teacher when his mom can do that? Well, we're separated for one, so she shouldn't be around the kid. Like, I need to be there. Well, I find out every woman in the department gets to go to meet the kids. Just not me. Every one of them were gone to meet their kids. Yep. So then it gets better. So I'm pissed off at this point. I'm like, whatever. So my kids get their school schedule, and they're on the bus schedule. And I said, all right, well, I need to be home by like 3 o'clock because they're usually there by about 3:15.
Sure.
So I said, if I can leave by 2:30, basically what I'm asking to do is not anything major. It's like, I'm just going to take my lunch at 2:30, get home, work from home for the last 2 hours of my day. And he's like, I can't do that. He said, you're asking for something very unreasonable. I'm like, I need to be home so I can get my kids from school.
Sure.
Like, I don't understand this. And he's like, he's like, put them in daycare or something. I don't know what to tell you. So the lady I was telling you about that got hired with zero experience is a fucking moron. She has 2 16-year-old kids that are riding the bus, 2 16-year-old twins or whatever.
Sure.
Asked for the same fucking schedule. Granted. She left every day at 2:30.
That's insane. And this is back to the one that I was talking about, the one that I walked out of because there was a woman that was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And she had the same situation where she's a single parent, so she's allowed to leave every day at fucking 2 o'clock because she can go get her kids from school.
Right.
Like, why can't your kids ride the goddamn bus?
Right.
Why can't your kids fucking skateboard or ride a bicycle to school like I fucking had to?
Right.
No fucking girls rode their bikes or rode skateboards to school. You remember that?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Are kidnappers more likely to steal girls?
Apparently.
Maybe that has to do with sex trafficking. Maybe that was a good idea. But I'm just saying.
But still, like,
That's part that goes into the double standard. Like,
Yeah.
she was, if I was like, hey, I got dogs, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta let my dogs out. How is that not like as important as picking up a kid that could ride the goddamn bus?
right. And I was told by the same guy that granted her that schedule that I need to put my kids in after school program or daycare.
It's because you're more valuable to the fucking company than she is.
Right. And
But is she making the same money as you?
yeah.
See?
They were all making as much money, if not more, than I was.
So what I'm sensing here is somebody that owns a company, and you are a relatively new business owner, so you should be able to make this assessment as well. If men make more, It's because they're more valuable to the company.
Exactly.
Because the responsibilities that women have are not the same as the responsibilities that men have.
Correct.
So the rights of a woman and the rights of a man, while they are the same, the responsibilities are where there is a shift.
Yeah.
Because a single dad would not get the same fucking treatment.
No, and I've never have. And have you ever heard of a woman getting fired from her job because she had to stay home sick with her kid?
No, never. Actually, I know about women that call in because they're having fucking panic attacks.
I've gotten fired because I stayed home sick with a sick child. Because in my boss's words, why is the mom not home with the kid? Because we're divorced, you motherfucker. Like, this happened.
Why is that? I remember a girl I was dating had almost died. She had some kind of an infection that like went to her heart and it like almost killed her.
Jesus.
Like she got a cold and it like went to her pericardium around her heart, like it infected the sac that your heart sits in. And she almost died, and I had to take her to the hospital, and I had to skip out of work. I was driving a truck at this point.
Sure.
And the very next text that I got back, like I sent it in like within 10 minutes. I was just like, we've decided to go another way. And I'm like, I've been working here for fucking like a year. And they're like, we decided to go another way as far as your position is concerned. I'm like, why? And they're like, we need drivers that show up to work. I'm like, dude, I've missed one day in 12 months, and it's because I'm saving somebody's goddamn life.
Apparently that doesn't matter.
The thing that really went into me quitting the job with the woman that was making more money than me to do a shittier job than me was that she had something with her ex-husband, or not even her husband, I guess just baby daddy, or baby daddy one, because I think she had a different baby daddy for each kid. And she had something she had to go to for that, and ended up missing 3 days of work in a row over it, right? And then my grandmother died, or we knew she was going to die. They were going to take her off life support.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to go see her while she's alive.
Absolutely.
And they were like, if you go now, we don't know if we can let you off for her funeral. I'm like, so I have to choose. I have to choose between paying my final respects or seeing her one more time while she's living.
That's not something you give.
And so I just took my fucking little name tag and just set it on the fucking desk. I wasn't a dick about it or anything. I just set it down and I was just like, this is the last time that you'll ever see me. I'm gonna go get my tools. I was a mechanic.
Oh sure.
I was like, I'm gonna go get my tools and I'm out of the shop. I'm like, this is the last time you're gonna see me. And I left and I never fucking came back. And I just walked out. I didn't clock out. Like I just left, dude.
Right. Yeah, and that's like we talked about like the whole like going into business and stuff like because of these situations we've been in, and some of the stuff that has been pushing me into getting my own business was for these inequalities I've experienced. And there's actually a story where I was talking to a friend of my wife's, and she's very feminist. She was like, yeah, no, men are not oppressed or like with their sex or whatever. Sexism with men is not a thing.
Yes, it is.
And I told her the stories that I dealt with at floor, and she and her jaw just hit the floor. She's like, "That happened?
This happens more than you fucking realize.
It fucking happens all the goddamn time.
And you live in your little feminist bubble.
Yeah.
And you think that the only thing that you have a victim mentality, and you think that the only person that could ever possibly be hurt is you and people like you.
Right. And and you hear oh well, I would imagine this happened to a woman, but not a man.
Why would you imagine this happened to a woman?
It's
because
sexism.
It very rarely ever happens to women.
Yes.
All of these things that we've talked about, they almost exclusively happen to men.
I can guarantee you can ask a lot of single dads out there, and they've dealt with
Can you not hit the mic with your cup? God damn it. So single dads, I'm gonna derail it.
Single dads. There's a lot of single dads I've talked to. They've dealt with the same experience where they're trying to juggle life, and they don't have the opportunity to because employers. That's actually a good conversation. There's a lot of times where I've had to lie about having a family, and there's a lot of men out there that'll lie about being single fathers because an employer will not hire you if they know that you are a single dad.
Sure.
They will absolutely not hire you because you're a liability and you're going to be home sick with kids or whatever, and they just can't handle that.
But single mothers almost exclusively get jobs. You hear about it all the time. It's the old cliche thing.
Yeah.
It's a single mom with working 2 jobs. Well, how did she get those fucking jobs?
She said she was a single mom.
She said she was a single mom. She didn't lie about having children. She told a sob story. But it's not a sob story for a man. Because you're a fucking man. Why can't you handle that?
Right.
Why are you not able to work 40 hours and then come home and take care of your fucking kids and make it to all the fucking piano and dance recitals and football games and soccer games? Why are you not able to fucking be a good parent all by yourself but women get all the support in the world to do these things?
Oh, absolutely.
There's absolutely no support for men that are by themselves, and I'm not a single parent. I'm not a parent at all.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm completely objective in this. I can stand back and I can watch this, and I'm not even partial to throwing my bias towards being a man or towards men because I am a man. Because I've seen, like I said, I've said it on this podcast a couple of times, like I've seen women that are badasses and they do, great things.
Sure.
But they're in the minority.
Yes.
The majority of females, like I saw a friend of mine post on her Facebook story that she was at work. It was like 5 a.m. and she was just like, what happened? She was mad as shit at feminists, and she was just like, y'all fighting for all this bullshit. I used to only have to just like, all I would have had to do was just marry a man, and wouldn't have to have my ass at work right now at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm glad, and it sucks that that's what it was and kind of where society was at. But at the same time, I'm like, she made a really good fucking point.
Yeah.
That, if not for the push of feminism, then women's only aspirations would still be to find a good man.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not really understanding I don't understand what injustices they feel like have taken place, because they're as long as we've been alive, they're able to vote. They're able to they make the same. They make the same.
They do.
They earn just as much money. I don't understand where the hell that comes from.
It's because they're told. I'm sure there was one instance where some guy was paying a woman less, and they're like, well, this happens all the time, but they don't take into factor what education do you have, how much experience do you actually have.
Well, who's
what
more qualified for
certifications
the
do you
job?
have?
Because if somebody is more, I didn't mean to clip the mic. If somebody is more qualified for a job, don't you think that they deserve more money than you?
Correct.
If me and you were both going in to apply for a fucking IT job,
Right.
and they hired both of us, how fucking furious would you be if they were paying me the same amount as you?
I'd be pissed
You should be.
because I have more experience. I have the education, the time.
I have no experience. I have no experience. You have the education. You have the
Right.
experience. I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground around a computer. I break computers. Okay? So if they hired me and you both, but they hired me because I am, just for instance, just say for some reason that had nothing to do with my qualifications to do the job. Because that's what we're talking about when we're talking about single fathers lying about having children so that they can get jobs,
Yeah.
and single mothers not shutting the fuck up about their children so that they can get jobs.
Yes.
Right. So that's the big divide right there.
Yeah.
If women earn less in a field, it's probably because the women that, so when they look at the statistics and they say, oh, well, women on average in this particular field make 70% of what men make. But what if this particular field is what they're not telling you? They're not telling you what that field
Right.
is. Is that field welding?
Is it construction?
Because there's, I mean, is it just that is it firefighters?
Right.
Like, is it, you know what I'm saying?
Something that requires a man to be able to do the
I mean,
job.
there's female firefighters, but like they have to pass the same physical requirements. But of course, there's female standards for it, just like in the fucking military.
Yeah.
Where there's females and they have their own fucking set of standards that they have to meet. But the thing of it is that are they as qualified to do the goddamn job? And if the answer is no, then they don't deserve to make as much money. Just the same as if it was for men.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same as it was for men. Because if I went to go into fucking, like, if I was in the medical field and I wanted to go into fucking OB, that field is predominantly dominated by women.
Sure.
There's a majority of OBs are fucking women. And if I was going into that, and there was women in that field that made more money than me, I wouldn't say they're making that much more than me because they're a woman. I would say they're making that much more than me because they're better at this than me. They're more experienced and they're more educated than me.
So, and that's the thing is like that's where a lot of people confuse this as you're being sexist instead of it's
a quick fucking crutch to lean on to get some fucking leverage to come back with a counterpunch. It's the same as
that's an actually good analogy.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because if you say something to a fucking feminist woman, that thunder is rumbling, boy. If you say something to a feminist woman that she feels like is out of pocket, she's gonna use feminism or gender inequality as a fucking crutch.
Absolutely.
To fucking make herself stand up taller to try to knock you down.
Yeah, make you feel like shit for even questioning it.
But that's complete horseshit, because if you did the same thing to her, you're just more and more and more sexist.
Absolutely.
There's no way. I never experienced sexism until I encountered a feminist. Never in my life.
That's something.
Never ever did I experience sexism, and I mean even from men. And I'm of the fuck bitches get money mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even around my friends that are also like just what I would call what most society would call fuck boys. Mm-hmm. I've never heard Like, yeah, we talk about girls in a lewd way when there's not women around, but almost all of my friends won't even curse in front of women.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I won't. Like, I don't curse in front of women. Like, strange women.
Yeah, sure.
I'll curse in, like, my mother's heard me curse, here and there, because like she'll beat my ass maybe. I don't know. But like, me and Courtney are fucking just horrible. She knows she's with a fucking grunt, so. You know, she knows that I would be comfortable living outside in a hole that I dug. So she you know, doesn't, I don't really censor myself around her.
Yeah.
But like if I'm out in public or like even on Facebook, like I try, like there's just a friend of mine that has a lot of older female followers, and I even say like I don't subject the people that follow your page to this type of language, so I'll censor myself.
Yeah.
But I want everybody to know that I'm saying fuck right now. You know what I mean? So I'll be like F star. You know?
Yeah, I see.
But I'm saying I never heard any of my friends say, "Oh, well, she's a bitch, so you know, she shouldn't be allowed to do that. She's a bitch." Because to me, I know way more men that are bitches than women. Like you're just being bitchy, you know. But I'm saying, I never experienced any kind of sexism until I encountered a feminist, and then I found out that I'm the worst type of person on the planet. I'm a womanizer. I'm a chauvinist. I'm a fucking misogynist. I'm all these terrible things. And on top of being a transphobe, and on top of being a homophobe, and on top of being, I don't know, fucking Irish. That's terrible.
I think you're fatphobic too.
I'm oh man. we were no shit. We were at the grocery store right before this, and and Courtney was like, "Look at that couple. They're just both fat and happy together." And I was just like, "Yep." And she's like, "That just seems nice." And I'm just like, "Does it?" And she's like, "Well, they seem very happy." And I'm like, "Yeah, they're probably gonna die very young." Like, I mean, you know,
their life expectancy is soon.
I mean, yeah, right, exactly. Like, you know, their credit score is probably the same as their total cholesterol number. You know, I'm like, they're probably not gonna make it. They're gonna be fat and happy for a very short amount of time, and then they're gonna be sick and tired for the rest of it. You know.
Well, and I think, and to be honest, it kind of rolls into some of the stuff with like the whole.
I didn't.
It's 2-1.
I didn't do that.
It's 2-1.
Did I hit it twice?
Yeah, you've hit it twice.
Oh no, I clipped it. I was this close to it, and I said something.
Fine, 1-1.
That was a clip. My clips need to go in their own category. That's over here. So I'm backwards. So I'll put a graphic right about here. I'll put a graphic like right here for a few seconds that shows the number of times I've hit the mic, and then we'll do the same thing over there on his side for that, and we'll keep the tally running.
As far as like the feminism, the gender inequality, whatever you want to call it, is at this point, anytime I hear gender inequality, I think of feminists. Mm-hmm. And some of the idea that I see is like women are paraded if they're overweight, if they dye their hair purple, they do something crazy or whatever, it's celebrated. You're big and beautiful, you're amazing, you can be fat, blah, blah, blah. Men do not have that same standard. We are supposed to have six-pack abs. We're supposed to be muscular. We're supposed to have perfect bodies the entire time.
That whole double standard with body size, which I think is something that we should get into on a different podcast.
Yes. Because
I'd really love to talk about the healthy at any size bullshit.
I love
it. Because there's no such thing.
Maybe we'll do that next week.
I'd love to do that one next week. And I'd love to get Tony Gonzalez, a friend of mine. I'd love to get him on with us next week. If we're going to do that next week, I'll hit him and see if he's down to run a pod with us next week. Okay. Because I only have the two inputs.
I'll say I got a condenser mic with a thing on it. It's a
pop filter? Is it a Rode mic? Or?
No, it's a little off.
Why are we talking about this on the podcast? We can talk about this.
Cut this off.
I mean, yeah, but that's more work for me. We're talking about this is more work for me. But my friend of mine, Tony, he's really big in the community, and he's really big in the game of pissing people off on social media.
I like it.
Yeah, so if we do that, I'd like to get Tony G in here. So maybe next week we'll have
should be a good one.
Maybe next week we'll have Tony G in here, and we'll do the body positivity movement. Maybe we'll talk about that.
I like it.
Next week. But just to retouch on all of our points here. For feminism, because we're right at the hour mark here, yeah?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, let's go over some of the other points maybe we haven't touched.
Take a breath right here. And now we'll talk about why feminism is fucking cancer that's ruining society. Right? So what is the message, Matt, for the young man that is watching this podcast? I wouldn't let you do a message for them, and then because my message for them is really kind of jaded, because mine is don't get married, don't have kids, like because it's just you're not going to get treated fairly.
No, and so being a divorcee and doing the intelligent thing that any man would do is remarrying somebody with the same first name. My side of gender inequality is same thing that this podcast has always been about, is being unapologetically a male. You need to be able to find somebody that follows your ideals. So whether that's you're the man, you're the shit, you're the alpha, you take over the house, find somebody that's going to be able to support you on that 100%.
I agree with that 1,000%, dude, because the only time, like, when you see a vegan and you see a guy that's trying to fuck her and he all of a sudden is a vegan?
I know
a
few people out there that have done that.
I have a friend that fucking really understands how the zodiac signs work.
Yeah.
And when he finds out, he studied it so much that when he finds out what a girl's sign is, he automatically knows which sign is supposed to be the most compatible, and he'll just say that that's his sign. So like, here's the thing. That's beta. That's a beta move.
Absolutely.
All of that shit is a beta move. Now cold approaching is not a beta move. That is something that alpha males do. You should cold approach.
Approach?
Yeah, cold approach. I mean, you see her at the fucking store, you go talk to her.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cold approach.
100% that.
Cold approach. Like that's an alpha move. The beta move is trying to make a way for her to talk to you first.
Yeah. Being who she wants you to be.
Being who she wants you to be. No, that's beta as fuck. So you're unapologetically you. You're unapologetically a fucking man.
Yes.
You fucking eat beef jerky, shit with the door open, go on riverboat gambling tours, fucking
all of it.
All that shit. No, I'm saying if you do half of those things, you're probably a gross person. But I mean, I'm just saying, you don't dumb yourself down to get in a chick's pants, because that's ridiculous. That's something that I have never done. I've never changed who I am to be the girlfriend guy. Mm-hmm. I've always just been the same motherfucker. On the caveat to that, I have been introduced to things that from exes,
sure,
or women that I went out with. Mm-hmm. And Courtney is always baffled that I've been on like 300 dates. Because I've probably been on dates with 300 different women. I mean, like, if I'm just like being honest.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that I've fucked 300 women.
Oh, you just went on a date.
Because she doesn't understand the concept of dating, because she's a few years younger than us.
Uh-huh.
So her experience with dating was she had like one long-term boyfriend and then like a whole lot of hookups, like hookup culture shit, right?
Sure.
And then I'm like, I've had some long relationships, I've had some hookups, but I also have gone on a fuckload of dates with girls, just from cold approaching. And
oh yeah, you don't know who you're dealing with until you date.
Right, and that's the thing. So the younger generation is always fucking baffled. Like when I say, yeah, I've probably been on been on dates with like 350 women or something like that. They're always like, wow, like that's a lot. And I'm like, is it? Because it doesn't seem like, how many people do you think you've met in your life?
A ton.
Like maybe more than 1,000 people.
Sure.
I mean, like you've actually met and talked to.
Right.
Like probably 1,000 people, maybe more.
Right.
Okay, and how many of them were females? And probably close to half.
Yeah.
And then, how many of them were you potentially sexually attracted to? Mm-hmm. And so that halves that again, probably. I mean, you're way more likely to talk to a female in public that you're attracted to anyway.
Well, and just to that extent, it's like, how many dates have you been on that you didn't realize was a date until afterwards? Like, I've been on a few where, like, I was hanging out and then I'm like, oh, this kind of actually turned out to a date.
I have taken, there's a girl that I'm buddies with that I have taken on dates that I didn't realize were dates until they were dates.
Those are interesting.
Until they were dates, yeah. And I was just like, because we started as friends, and we're still friends. But like started as friends, and then we're out at dinner, whatever the case may be, and then it's she has decided that this is a date, and I'm like, I don't really like you like that,
bro.
Right? So like I don't know. I feel like part of being an alpha male is having the power to friend zone a girl.
That is the best thing in the world. I've done it a few times, and it is.
Yeah, because she's and if she, I don't think she'll watch, but if she watches, I mean, she'll know she's a dime piece.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, any dude would, and I'm not into her like that, and
sure, yeah.
And I was just like, what are you doing? Like, no, we're not doing that. No. Absolutely not. And I heard her feelings like pretty bad. So she talked to me for a couple of years, and then then she hit me up. It wasn't recently, but it was a few years back. She hit me up and she was just like, "Hey, I'm sorry for being a fucking weirdo." I'm like, "Oh no, you're good." Like I was just thought because she lives very not far from here.
Okay.
So anytime like I don't know, this is a weird situation, but I mean I guess to me it was just like me hanging out with a friend.
Yeah,
so it wasn't any different than me and you going to Denny's and get some key lime pie after this.
Key lime pie.
Yeah, key lime pie from Denny's, man. You gotta get it going, dude. I can tell by the look on your face that you haven't done it yet.
I haven't. No.
You gotta get it done. You gotta do it, man. See, the trick is finding a Denny's that serves key lime pies. That's the trick, because it's not on their menu.
Oh, really?
No, it's not on the menu.
Shoot. Well, maybe after one of these maybe next week after we have Tony with us, we'll go hit that up and just.
Yeah, but we won't tell him that we're going to do that. I don't want to
talk about body positivity.
We'll talk about body positivity, then we'll go eat some fucking pie, dude. It'll be good. No, so yeah, as it pertains to men, what should you take from the gender inequality argument? What you should take is however you truly feel about it. But if you feel like you're opposed to the things that we've said here, I want you to really ask yourself, and I mean truly fucking ask yourself, when was the last time that a woman was treated unfairly because she was a woman? And in your immediate personal experience. And I want you to post that in the comments below.
Absolutely.
And we'll address it. We'll address it next week. If you comment on it, and we will address it. And even if it's several weeks down the road, if we get some examples, we'll read them, and I'll tell you why you're full of shit. Like, I will read them, and I will explain to you in great detail why her gender had fuck all to do with what happened to her.
Dare you?
And I don't want to hear from women. And I know that you might think that that's sexist, but I don't want to hear it from women.
Yeah.
Because just because you don't want to hear about how hard it is being a man from a man, right?
That's fair.
So the women that have watched this have already cut it off. They're not even watching anymore.
No, if there are any women that actually watch this and they have any interesting concepts or stories of the sexism with men in whatever situation, love to hear about it as well, because it's something that I think more people need to hear, because we've experienced it, we see it, a lot of us guys have dealt with it, but for some reason, nobody wants to fucking talk about it.
It is a thing that nobody's talking about. It's almost like there's a stigma. And the reason that guys are scared to fucking talk about it is because they're afraid they're not going to get pussy anymore.
That's it. Yeah, it's like it's going to...
if you get that scarlet letter, that fucking scarlet M, that misogyny M pinned on your chest, you think you're never going to get laid again. Yeah. But it's not true. Like, let them call you a fucking misogynist. Look, if to you that I'm a misogynist and that's what you need me to be for you to fucking sleep at night, then I'm a fucking misogynist and I don't care. I do not fucking care. If watching this has made you go, oh well, this guy's a chauvinistic pig and that's what you need to believe so that you can sleep at night because you need to fucking put yourself on a higher rung than me, then go for it, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, your opinion of me means fucking nothing. I'm still gonna fuck a bikini model tonight. I still got a fucking couple grand on my wrist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I still got hot rods and Harleys.
Our lives do not change.
I am so unchanged. If you hit that thumbs down button on this video, that doesn't make my dick shrink at all.
Take it as a badge of honor.
It don't mean nothing to me. And I'm not just on here trying to be like, oh, I'm a hard ass, blah blah. It don't matter to me. But like what I'm really saying is that like your opinion of me really is your business and it ain't mine. Yep. And that's my real message to the young men watching this, is that other people's opinion of you is their problem and it ain't yours. That is a you problem and that ain't a we problem.
That's right.
So if Matt thinks that I'm the fucking biggest son of a bitch that's ever lived, that's on Matt, dude. That ain't up to me. It ain't up to me and it ain't my responsibility to change Matt's mind.
No, not at all.
And I'm not going to go out of my way to try to change Matt's mind.
No, because at the end of the day, he goes there, I go there. We have our own lives that we live.
Matt has actually hit me like 3 times and been like, "Hey man, let's get a workout at TriFit." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I got a fucking thing." So I'm.
He's a pussy.
Honestly, what it comes down to is I just can't work out with him.
Why?
Oh, dude, you're way too strong. I can't work out with you. No. A whole workout's gonna be changing weight. My whole workout's just gonna be this movement right here, just pulling plates off barbells.
That's a good workout though.
I mean, it's good. It's good on back day. If we're doing back, yeah, it'd be good. I can get like a rear delts maybe.
You come work out with me on like a deload week.
That's what it would have to be. It would have to be a peak week for me and a deload week for you, and it would work out good because I'm not working out with 285 like on bench, like you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
I mean, I'm only doing like 250, 260 right
dude,
now.
I'm working out with like 200, 225 maybe.
Do some squats then.
But I mean, yeah, we could do that if we were doing like 5x5s or something.
I did the 395 yesterday.
Oh yeah, I mean, I work out with like between 315 around like between 275, 315.
What I have to do is take off the change.
We need to do some powerlifting and bodybuilding and stuff. And I wish I would have grabbed some footage from the Upstate Classic because I was there this past weekend. Oh man, it was so good. It was so good. There was a wheelchair athlete.
Oh, those are always so cool.
Dude, he was the fucking best, dude, and he was just shredded cheddar, dude.
Dude,
like
that's
from the
awesome.
waist up. I mean, you know, because his legs didn't work, right?
Sure.
And he had, what do you call that chicken wing? You know what I mean? Like he had a chicken wing arm.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
This is probably super offensive, but I mean,
Yeah,
I just mean like he had that wrist, and I don't know what it's called, but his
Mm-hmm.
wrist was just permanently like this. And when he hit his fucking bicep, dude, it was just gnarly. He looked like a fucking electrical storm in his like on the front side of his bicep.
That's baller.
Oh yeah, dude, he was shredded cheddar.
Something
man.
about like just
looked
seeing like
great.
some like paraplegic and just disabled people lift is super inspiring. It's awesome. I seen a guy a few competitions back. He had one arm. He did a full powerlifting meet. Squat, bench, deadlift.
He deadlifted it with one arm, like. Ugh.
No, he had a
Oh, he had a prosthetic.
prosthetic arm that he would like hook. He had one that he had for deadlifts.
It was a hook.
No, it was a clamp.
That's awesome, dude.
Dude, it was so baller.
Dude, that's so cool. So yeah, whenever you see them, it makes you wear. Remember that time you skipped because.
All right, let's try that.
That running.
Looks like it.
Cool.
Oh, I'm too big. All right, so
We had some technical difficulties, but I'll just do one of our technical difficulty transitions into that, where it just goes.
I like those.
I
Those
do
are
too.
pretty cool.
Those are great. Yeah, actually do one right here.
Like it. All right, so yeah, I guess we should probably wrap this up. We're way over the hour, I would imagine, at this point. But again, like we always say, just be unapologetically a male. And I can't stress that enough. With gender inequality, with anything we've ever talked about, be who you are. Do not change who you are.
Yeah, because I don't see any difference in you being who you are versus a trans person being told that it's great for them to be who they are, or a woman being told it's great for them to be who they are.
Exactly.
Or a homosexual being told to be who you are, or any of that. I don't see how. Look, the only thing you're guilty of is being a fucking dude.
Yeah.
That's it. So is that really such a bad fucking thing? Is it really a bad thing?
No.
Because in a society where there's no men, that's the end of fucking the human race.
That's it. We're done. You can't do it.
And in an entire society where the men are soft and feminine, that society is just, you could just blow them over.
It's the same concept. You talk about equality. It's the same concept of you can't be completely feminine, but you can't be completely masculine either. There is a balance between the two.
Men and women just simply aren't equal.
Correct.
It's just it's an unfortunate truth that and it's not. I don't even find it find it to be very unfortunate, because there are it's not rights. Our rights are equivalent. No.
Keep talking.
Oh my
Hold
god.
on.
No, dude, I'm bars. Dude, I'm bars now. Dude, I'm gonna have to put another shaky transition in this. No. What did you do all week? Did you charge the batteries?
I got tosses though. You just exhausted this one.
I exhausted it. What do you mean?
It's your camera. This is what you did. You just fix it.
What did I do?
Give it a second and see if it.
All right, I don't know if it's gonna run or not.
Okay.
All right, so that's so we're just gonna try to just hit our sign off and just get out of here then, because
Yeah,
I mean
I'm good.
it's getting bad. So, yeah, just being yourself, being the person that you are.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if some feminazi somewhere tells you that you're a misogynist, then just fucking carry on living your
those.
life. Just carry on living. There we go.
texting people. We're live.
What?
I think I got it working. It hasn't encoded us yet.
Oh, sweet. So we were having technical difficulties, and I started playing guitar while we were sorting it out. So
we're gonna wrap this up before we die again. All of that.
Hell yeah. How about this? Be a fucking man.
I co-sign that.
Yeah, just be a fucking man. All right, and if you want to like and subscribe, I don't fucking care. And that's it, man. Next week, we'll hopefully have a cool guest on here with us. We've had a couple of people request to be on, so we're gonna try to get that going for next week. So that's gonna be pretty cool. And again, the challenge in the comments stands. If you're a man and you can tell me a time when you have personally experienced a female being treated differently or being treated unfairly, not differently, because women should be treated differently. You should treat women differently than you treat men.
Sure.
Is 100%.
Yeah.
But unfairly, in a gender biased way.
I'd love to know.
If you have fucking any actual experience with that, then put it in the comments and I'll explain to you why you're full of shit. Because you're wrong. Yes. No, I mean it's just because you're wrong. I mean you really are. I mean there's these. I'm not saying these instances don't happen. But there's
reasons they happen.
There's reasons that they happen. It's just the same as playing the fucking race card.
Sure.
Sometimes racism happens. Most of the time, it's not.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. Anything that I'd love to hear it. Just to see what experiences people have seen, if there are any. I doubt there are any actual problems with it. But until next time, I'm Mad Matt. I'm good with this podcast. I think next week will be better than the last, and they're just gonna keep getting better from here on out.
The one we did last week was kind of a disaster. I don't even remember filming it. Damn. I was in such bad withdrawal, and I stayed off of nicotine for a week and started back. I've probably had 2 or 3 today.
I don't think I've watched the last one. I just watched like bits and pieces of it, so that's saying something. But anyway. Next week, please tune in, or don't. But it'll be a good one, especially if we get our guest on board, and we'll get Dan playing some more guitar here. Out.
See ya.